Hey, dear citizen and patriot, 5 reasons why blacks or black Americans or African Americans will vote to re-elect President Trump. Now, for purposes as a prefatory message, I will refer to this particular fellow citizenry as blacks or black Americans, not African American. It just takes too long, and I'm in a hurry. So, for no particular reason other than brevity and breviloquence, okay, please don't get upset, okay? I say whites, blacks, Asians, but you got the story. Always have to explain. That's the world we live in. Reason number one, blacks have been abandoned. Abandoned, totally. Not by the government per se, but by the Democratic Party. You see, the Democratic Party for years thought they owned. And by the way, when you hear me use these terms, you will notice a possessory type of a sound to this. They thought they owned, controlled, that they were the masters of this particular demographic, which heretofore, historically, let's face it, was in fact the case. Let me also remind you that in 56, the first Republican National Convention, there were 2 particular planks. The twin pillars of barbarism, polygamy and slavery. Have things changed? Remember that the Klan and Dixiecrats were Democrats. Remember the Southern Solution. So I don't want to spend too much time on history, but as far as the Democratic Party goes, they've been abandoned. And who have they been abandoned for? Illegal aliens and every hyphenated subcommunity you can imagine, from non-binary, cis, trans, whatever, to name it. Okay? Number 1, abandonment. Number 2, a series of subjects and series of considerations and topics that are just silly, that have inured to the detriment of black Americans. Silliness. DEI is now the code word for a predatory, prefatory, preferred form of lunacy that seeks equity, not equality, equity. The same DEI programs that basically has abandoned Asians and others as well. But DEI makes affirmative action look like, well, particle physics compared to this. George Floyd as the patron saint of civil rights? This is silly. Reparations. What? Nobody believes this. Nobody understands this. This makes no sense whatsoever. There is a silliness to this. There's this ridiculous aspect to it. And black Americans are saying, wait a minute, this is not helping anyone. This doesn't even apply. Who is doing this? Remember this. I was just going to ask myself the question, and I answered it. When somebody says they're going to do this, anything involving money, that means that's money to be siphoned off and to be paid, just like the military-industrial complex, paid to people to handle. You handle the reparations, you handle the DEI, you handle the quotas and diversity interest, and you do, and you're going to be in charge of the George Floyd curriculum in schools, and you're going to. This is silly. This is silly. And black Americans are saying, whoa, wait. This is the focus? This is the focus on us? Number 3, economic matters. Do I have to say anything anymore? Economic matters. I'm going to tell you a fact. This is for everybody. White, black, Asian, doesn't really matter. We don't go by percentages. 9% or 10%, 0.2%. Well, unemployment dropped to 0.3%. No, it's how you feel. And the questions that you have to ask. Very, very simple. Not only black Americans, but everybody in particular. But black Americans, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Better question. Do you want 4 more years of this? Okay, that's exactly what it is. I don't want to be scatological. It's a family show, but that's precisely what I'm talking about. Do you want 4 more years of this? Economics. There's been no. Now, unless let's face it, there is an absolute endless amount of money in appropriations for Israel, for Ukraine, and for all kinds of trans-surgical programs you name it. And as we mentioned, the aforementioned DEI and diversity. But when it comes to plain old economics, checkbook, the old kitchen table, can you pay your bills? That's a different story. There are certain things that you cannot ever get around, and that is it. Next, this is the most important. The maturing, the realization, the historical shock treatment of the demographic. African Americans, Black Americans today are a different demographic, as are we all, than we were 10 years ago. It is a different world, a different focus, a different perspective, and a different perception. It is a different world. This notion of this polarized black and white, it's not like that anymore. Believe it or not, there is a realization of this left-right paradigm and these artificial, man-made, focus group-driven dissimilarities based upon race and color. What really is the distinction in this country is class, not in terms of panache, but in terms of economic resourcefulness, economic abilities, economic situations, penury. This is what we're talking about, poverty, penury. This is the issue. We are a sophisticated group, and not in at all a small part due to the proliferation of social media and the realization that we do not have to wait until the 6 o'clock news to find out what the hell's going on. The wonderful double-edged sword, the wonderful aspect of social media is that people are able to find out what is actually happening. And it's having not the effect that they thought. And finally, reason number 5, why Black Americans are going to vote, and vote in droves. Remember, we're talking about a significant faction, 14% of the population? This is monumental. Is Donald Trump himself. I want you to listen to me. There are people who don't want to hear anything about him. Fine. There are people who would rather vote for, stale yogurt than him. I understand that. And that's what they're entitled to. Listen, there are some folks who, on the right, if you will, there are some Republicans who would never, ever even consider voting for a Democrat under any circumstances. I dig that. Let's forget those folks. In the middle, that's what I'm interested in. People who are able to be coerced, cajoled, persuaded to either move away from the independent and undecided status, maybe poach from the left, and to realize that Donald Trump, hear me out. If you don't like him, that's fine. But he is an absolute, this is important, he is an absolute form of chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is a substance that will kill you. This is something that you never want to use unless you have a cancer. And then it will save your life. But in any other situation, let's face it, maybe in a different time, a different era, maybe with, who knows, maybe Donald Trump may not be appropriate. I'm not here to argue that. I'm telling you that this country needs him to try to undo at best what 4 years of this jadrul brought us, and this ilk, and this contamination of everything. This country is unrecognizable, and Black Americans realize that. They're not children. They've been patronized, pat on the head, there. We'll take care of you. And then, here's the best part. Guess what? You're not the demographic of choice. You're not the concerned faction of the Democratic Party. No, it's the illegals who are going to come here and do everything in their power to completely change everything, to create the notion of Democrats being a permanent majority, to overrule or to review. What am I trying to say? The filibuster, to make D.C. the 51st state, and to basically, by virtue of their beings, their actual physicality, their corporeal essence, to be moved around the country in different batches to change congressional districts, electoral vote coverage. Elon Musk is right. Now, you want to call that the replacement theory? Fine. If that bothers you, fine. I don't care. But that's the truth. And the bottom line is simply this. Everyone knows that Donald Trump is going to win and that this country needs him. It's that simple. All of the debate's over. All the discussion is over. We're done with this. We're tired. You want to watch The View? Go ahead. We're done. Come November, this is important to know. It's changing. To not only make America great again, but to bring sanity back. Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the best. She said, this isn't about, left or right, whatever. It's between, normal and crazy. This is crazy. This is nuts. I don't know what happened to the place. And for you to think, or anybody to think, that African Americans are not susceptible to this, that they don't see this. Oh, no. Let me tell you something. The worst thing that ever happened was Trump's, well, not the worst, but the worst sense of realization was when Trump showed up in the Bronx. They never knew this was even possible. They never knew this was even possible because they saw firsthand there's going to be a change. The tsunami is coming. This is not, I'm not saying this just to be, hey, because when it's been bad, I've told you, much to the chagrin and the dismay of many of my acolytes and minions and dim boxes and philosophical amanuenses. They didn't like this. I always tell you the truth. When things are good, I tell you. When things are bad, I tell you. And if I don't know, I don't know. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm here to tell you what you need to know. Get ready, my friends. There's a shot coming in November. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Please hit that bell to be notified of live streams and new videos. Please like this video and comment and answer the particular question I put up just for you. Comment as you see fit.